Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya.
Namaste, and welcome to the conclusion of the Udgītha-brāhmaṇa of the Bṛhadāraṇyakopaniṣad. This is the summation of the first three brahmanas. Before we get into that, though, let's take a look at the whole context of Bṛhadāraṇyakopaniṣad. Bṛhadāraṇyakopaniṣad covers the four states of consciousness, their objects, the methods used to realize them, and their ultimate objectives. So in the beginning, one performs Vedic rituals to attain pious karma. This leads to good birth, intelligence, wealth, and so forth. Then, in Svapna consciousness, one uses the mind to meditate, and this is called upasana or sadhana. And the aim here is samadhi, in which one realizes Udgītha as Aṅkara. Then in Sushupti consciousness, one focuses on shunyata or emptiness to attain knowledge, the jnana kanda. And this leads to Brahman realization by means of Atma Vichara and Neti Neti. And finally, one realizes Turiya, the transcendental consciousness, where one realizes Brahman, the absolute truth, and attains moksha, liberation, the end of ignorance, and attainment of non-duality. So this is the overall theme of the Upanishad. And where do these first three brahmanas that we have already covered in this series fit into that? Well, let's take a look at their subject matter. The first brahmana, Ashvamedha-brāhmaṇa, covered the meditation on the sacrificial horse of the Ashvamedha yajna as the cosmic person, Hiranyagarbha. The second brahmana, Agni-brāhmaṇa, covered creation and evolution of the universe, the concepts of death and sacrifice. And finally, this Udgītha-brāhmaṇa covers the allegory of the warfare between the celestials and demons and meditation on the vital force as its resolution. Chanting the Udgītha, which is the mantra Aum, with the vital force, with proper pronunciation and tone, is the antidote to the rascal mind, which is actually demoniac in nature. So before we get into how to chant this mantra, let's review it again and then go over the meanings of each word.
Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya.
Now let's go over the meaning of each word. Asato, from evil or untruth. Ma, not, away from. Sat, good or truth. Gamaya, we shall go out, go to or towards. Tamaso, from darkness or ignorance. Jyotir, to light or knowledge. Mrityor, from death. Amritang, to immortality. So this prayer summarizes or expresses the essence of the first three Brahmanas of Bṛhadāraṇyakopaniṣad. And it is given in a wonderful shloka, a wonderful mantra, which I won't recite the whole Sanskrit because it's too long and probably doesn't mean much to you anyway. But let's look at the translation and then discuss it more. Now, therefore, the edifying repetition, abhyaroha, only of the hymns called Pavamānas. The priest called Prastotra indeed recites the Sāman. While he recites it, these mantras are to be repeated. From evil, lead me to good. From darkness, lead me to light. From death, lead me to immortality. When the mantra says, from evil, lead me to good, evil means death, and good, immortality. So it says, from death, lead me to immortality. That is, make me immortal. When it says, from darkness, lead me to light, darkness means death, and light, immortality. So it says, from death, lead me to immortality, or make me immortal. In the dictum, from death, lead me to immortality, the meaning does not seem to be hidden. Then, through the remaining hymns, the chanter should secure eatable food for himself by chanting. Therefore, while they are being chanted, the sacrificer should ask for a boon, anything that he desires. Whatever objects this chanter possessed of such knowledge desires, either for himself or for the sacrificer, he secures them by chanting. This meditation certainly wins the world of Hiranyagarbha. He who knows the Sāman, vital force, as such, has not to pray, lest he be unfit for this world. Now let's read Śaṅkarācārya's commentary on this mantra. A repetition of mantras is being prescribed for one who knows the vital force as such. The meditation, by knowing which one is entitled to this repetition of mantras, has been mentioned. Where is it mentioned? In the previous three mantras. Mantra 25. He who knows the wealth of this Sāman, vital force, attains wealth. Tone, swara, is indeed its wealth. Mantra 26. He who knows the correct sound of this Sāman obtains gold. Tone, swara, is indeed its correct sound. Mantra 27. He who knows the support of this Sāman gets a resting place. Speech is indeed its support. Now, the word that is translated as speech in Sanskrit is gīyate, which means to sing, speak, or recite in a singing manner. Sing to, praise in song, relate in metrical language, to sing before. So this prayer, this mantra, the Pavamānas, is meant to be sung before the sacred fire in the fire sacrifice, the Jyotishtoma Yajna. And it's meant to be chanted during the repetition of the Sāman. Now, Sāman here has a double meaning. It can mean the vital force, or it can mean the introductory prayers to the recitation of the Samaveda. Let's go on. Now, because this repetition of mantras by one possessed of such knowledge produces the result of elevation to divinity, therefore it is being described here. This repetition, being connected with chanting, may be thought applicable to every chant. So it is restricted by the mention of the Pavamānas. But since one may think that it should be done with all the three Pavamānas, the time is being further restricted. A priest called Prastotra indeed recites the Sāman. While he recites it, that is, when he begins to chant the Sāman, these mantras are to be repeated. And this repetition of mantras is called abhyaroha, because through this repetition, one possessed of such knowledge advances towards the realization of one's innate divinity. The plural in these indicates that there are 3 yajus mantras. So the result of chanting these mantras with the knowledge gained from the previous 3 mantras results in the attainment of divinity. This is very strong language. I haven't seen Śaṅkarācārya say anything like this anywhere else in all the works of his I have ever read, so which is almost all. First of all, to clarify this, let's go into the definition of Pavamāna. Pavamāna is defined in the Sanskrit dictionary as 1, being purified or strained, flowing clear as soma. 2, wind or the god of wind. And since we're talking here about prana, saman as the vital force, the god of wind is appropriate. 3, it's also the name of a particular Agni or fire god associated with Pavaka and Shuchi, which are also different fire gods. Again, the meaning is purification. And finally, the name of a particular stotra or prayer sung by the Udgātri priest at the Jyotishtoma Yajna. And how is that? In the Saman chanting sequence, the Prastotra priest sings the Prastava, which is the initial invocation of the Saman melody. This is the opening part of the Saman recitation, performed before the Udgātri priest takes over with the Udgīta, the main chant. Bṛhadāraṇyakopaniṣad 1.3.28 refers to the Pavamāna-mantra being chanted during the Saman performance, indicating that the Prastotra would be singing the Prastava, an introductory melodic phrase, while the mantra was recited. Now here, of course, he's not talking about Saman as the vital force, but as the recitation or singing of the Samaveda, which is an essential ingredient of the Jyotishtoma sacrifice. What is the meaning of all this? Well, in summary, Udgītha, Aumkar, is the essence of Vedic instruction and the most powerful object of meditation, which can lead one to self-realization. Shankara states in his commentary, Omkara is the means to self-realization. It is both the meditation, upasana, and the object of meditation, Brahman itself. This is also revealed in Mandukya-upanishad. Omkara is verily the self. One who knows this attains the self. Omkara is beyond all speech and mind. It is beyond all empirical experience and duality. The progression from ritualistic chanting of the Udgīta to meditational chanting to realization of Udgīta as Brahman is what this Upanishad is all about. As we described in the beginning, it causes a gradual elevation in consciousness from Jagrat and external rituals to Turiya, or full self-realization of the absolute truth. So this is the meaning of this chant. And in subsequent episodes, we're going to go into the deep meaning of each line in the Pavamāna-mantra and how it leads one gradually through the steps and stages of consciousness to the ultimate realization. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shakti Aum. Aum Namah Shivaya.